Motivated by an earnest desire to start a family with Sohwa, the fox, Dowhi shared his plan to embark on a quest for the divine talisman. This mystical object, rumored to possess divine powers, supposedly unlocked a unique phenomenon, allowing creatures of different kinds to have babies. Now, here's the kicker: Sohwa, currently caged by Dowhi, had her own conditions. She made it clear that she wanted offspring with a fox-like companion, not some intimidating beast like Dowhi. But undeterred, Dowhi, with a playful grin, insisted that she seemed interested and thrilled about the whole baby-making idea. Sohwa, frustrated and questioning his perception, pointed out the obvious: she wasn't a female tiger, for crying out loud. Arriving home, Dowhi confronted the fox, reminding her of the promise to live with him forever since she had taken him in as a baby. The fox, named Sohwa, retorted that Dowhi failed to appreciate the favor of being raised. Determined to repay her, Dowhi declared he would fulfill her wish and demonstrated his obedience to her every whim, appearing rather menacing. In an attempt to persuade Sohwa, Dowhi took her out of the cage, requesting her to assume her human form. Sohwa resisted, screaming a firm no. Dowhi, with a mischievous glint, reminded her of the earlier enjoyment she experienced. Sohwa reluctantly transformed, frustrated by Dowhi's persistence. Expressing gratitude, Dowhi began an unsettling display of affection, licking Sohwa's hand, kissing her neck, and placing her on his bed. He insisted he wasn't trapping her against her will. The atmosphere grew tense as Dowhi proceeded to kiss and grab Sohwa, promising not to be rough, but contradicting his actions with a sharp bite. Sohwa winced in pain, questioning how it had come to this point. Amidst the unsettling scene, Dowhi pleaded with Sohwa not to abandon him, asserting that he would change for her happiness. In a moment of desperation, he grasped her violently and confessed that if she were to leave him, he would die. The chilling question lingered: how had their interaction taken such a dark and unexpected turn? Back in the day, when cool tigers ruled the mountains, there was this spot called Mountain Lihuang. It wasn't the biggest mountain, so humans decided to chill there, and there weren't any tigers bossing them around. Now, Sohwa, she was this half-human, half-beast thing born on Mountain Lihuang, and she had 7 siblings. But here's the twist: she was kinda tiny and delicate compared to her furry fam, plus her fur color was a total rebel. So, on the day the family decided to bounce from the mountain, Sohwa's mom dropped some wisdom. They got across this sketchy hill before the sun calls it a day, and she's all, watch out, it's danger central. Sohwa, at the back, is like speed isn't her thing, and her feet play tag with some rocks. She screams for backup, but it's like her fam turned on the invisibility cloak. Finally, she wiggles free, but by then, they've all peace-signed her without even a glance. Cue the waterworks, right? But Sohwa, wiping away tears like a champ, decides they must have had a legit reason to leave her in the dust. So, she pulls a U-turn, heads back to the mountains, and throws in some mystery vibes about why her fam ghosted her. So, time rolls on at the mountain, and Sohwa's all pumped about summer vibes. She's got big plans, especially looking forward to stuffing her face. But, plot twist. Something startles her during a stroll. Turns out, it's an eagle dropping a surprise package. What's inside? A banged-up fox and a tiger. Yeah, a real-life tiger, but a weird one. Sohwa's like, whoa, you're not dead, and you're like a wild cat, but not really. Feeling some solo vibes, she takes the tiger home, thinking he's probably as lonely as her. Back at the crib, she tries to patch him up. Now, the wildcat isn't thrilled about the whole herb thing. He tries to make a run for it, but Sohwa plays tag again and catches him. Boom, one eye opens, and guess what? Golden eyes shining. Sohwa's like, okay, you're kinda cool. Later, they hit the hay together, but little does Sohwa know, Mr. Tiger is ticked off. He's thinking she mistook him for some basic wild cat, and now he's planning a buffet, with her as the main course. Talk about a wild bedtime story. Fast forward a few days, Sohwa wakes up the tiger, calling him her kid, and telling him to chow down because young ones need more grub. She whips out plates of fruit, thinking she's got it all figured out. But the tiger, unimpressed and not able to dish out words, gives her the ultimate fruit rejection. Like, he's not into fruity vibes at all. He's low-key wondering if she missed the memo on hunting. So, our girl takes charge and shoves a fruit in his mouth, noticing his fangs making a debut. She even throws in a "miss your mom's milk," while he sucks on her fingers. The tiger, seriously irritated, feels like she's treating him like a total baby. He's plotting to devour those fingers soon, but for now, he's gonna roll with it. Sohwa decides to carry Mr. Tiger around in a basket, while he's low-key practicing his scratching moves with those sharp claws. All the while, she's clueless about the wild scratching practice session going on. Talk about a wild mountain adventure. Time zooms by, and Sohwa's doing some serious food complaints. The stash she filled up just a day ago is now history. Out for a food rescue mission, she heads out for some green grapes. And surprise, surprise! There's her tiger child, looking way bigger than before. She's like, "Hey, wanna come pick grapes with me?" And he's all, sure. But here's the kicker, when she tries to lift him into her basket like old times, it's a struggle. Homeboy's packed on some serious weight. Sohwa's like, okay, maybe not. Dude's not thrilled and thinks maybe she's too fragile to wander the mountains alone. They exchange a few waves, and she's off. But, plot twist, he's like, "Nah, I'm coming too." Sohwa, thinking he's just a strong wild cat, is cool with it. As they stroll, Sohwa's giving him the slow walk advice. She's wondering how her child got so strong. Surprise, surprise again, he disappears into thin air. Where did he go? Meanwhile, Mr. Tiger, who turns out to be Lord Dowhi, chases down the eagle that dropped him. Eagle Dude transforms into a man and calls him master. Dowhi's not having it, complaining about being left out to dry as a newborn. The eagle, Master Chwizen, plays the future card, promising to be a loyal servant. Then, he drops the bomb about a fox searching for Dowhi. But Dowhi's like, "Nah, she's annoying. You wanna take care of her." Angry talk happens, and Dowhi's all, "I got my own plans for her when I'm big. No one touches her till then." Master Chwizen messes up big time, but Lord Dowhi's feeling generous and forgives him. He's all, "Okay, just bring me some grub next time." Off he goes to meet Sohwa. Now, Sohwa's been on a wild child hunt all day, frustrated and calling herself a fool. But, lo and behold, there's Dowhi, meowing like he's been rehearsing for a cat concert. She hugs him like there's no tomorrow, relieved she found her child. Days later, Sohwa's hit with the sickness bug. Dowhi's worried, thinking it might be the mountain climb that did her in. He's praying she doesn't kick the bucket. Sohwa, though, just brushes it off, saying it's a fever and she'll be back on her feet in no time. Enter Hoyoling, the friend guy. He pops in, notices Sohwa's not at her best, and brings her some grub. Dowhi, not thrilled to see a new face, gives Hoyoling the evil eye. But Sohwa's like, "Chill, he's a friend." Hoyoling, not getting the cat memo, gets scared. Sohwa assured him that he's just a wild cat. He then proceeded to making soup for them. Hoyoling feeds Sohwa and suggests bringing a wet towel while Dowhi gives him the stink eye. Moments later, Hoyoling goes out to being the wet towel. Surprisingly, Dowhi attacks him. Hoyoling runs out to Sohwa, informing her of her tiger cub. He yells at Sohwa, saying she better ditch the tiger cub, and left. Sohwa, confused but standing by her gentle wild cat, hugs Dowhi. Later that night, Dowhi, realizing his cover's blown, tries to transform into a human but fails. He's desperate, so he summons Chwizen and threatens to snack on him if he doesn't spill the beans. Chwizen spills. The fast track to human mode involves absorbing small spirits in the mountain. Sohwa, after days of being stuck in bed, spots fresh veggies and thinks maybe Hoyoling dropped them off. But surprise, it's not Hoyoling, it's a young boy calling her mistress, and holding a basket of fruits. The boy's like, "It's me, the wild cat." Sohwa, suddenly remembering, bombards him with questions, like how old he is. He's all no idea, and conveniently can't recall the eagle incident. Sohwa, worried he lost his memory, introduces herself as a red fox and clarifies there's zero romantic vibe between them due to their species difference. She drops the "stay with me" bomb, and he's all in, giving her a hug and whispering his name in her ear. 20 years later, as Sohwa is about to take a bath in the river, Dowhi appears, surprising her. Now grown up, he stands there, and Sohwa, caught off guard, didn't expect to see him. Dowhi gently caresses Sohwa's face, concern in his eyes as he questions her about the cold. Warning her about the perilous lake, Sohwa, in her usual stubborn manner, asserts that it's not her first visit. Swiftly, he lifts her, insisting they leave the water behind. She protests, demanding to be put down, but a slip sends her plunging into the lake. Frustration clouds her thoughts. Has he forgotten her age? Dowhi, without hesitation, wades into the water, emerging with her in his arms. Scolding her for the lack of caution, he insists on heading home to avoid catching a cold. Sohwa, dripping wet, calmly reveals her swimming abilities. His concern persists, planning a warm bath upon their return. In her thoughts, Sohwa marvels at his grown physique and reminisces about his younger days. Back home, Dowhi, now scrubbing her back, complains about her sneezing. Sohwa, asserting her seniority, questions his excessive worry. He defends himself, claiming genuine concern for a striking silver fox. Sohwa wonders at Dowhi's peculiar behavior, reminding herself that his family. Later, in a dream, Sohwa encounters a terrifying beast, desperately seeking help. A mysterious man intervenes with a kiss, triggering thoughts of a soulmate and a happy life. Yet, the dream takes a sinister turn as the figure transforms into a tiger. Sweating and disturbed, Sohwa wakes to Dowhi's worried inquiries. She panics, shouting about a tiger, but Dowhi reassures her, stating there are no tigers on Mount Lihuang, urging her to forget the dream. During their meal, Sohwa brings up her recurrent tiger dreams to Dowhi, expressing concern. He reassures her, stating there can't possibly be a tiger on the mountain. Sohwa, recalling Hoyoling's words, mentions his departure alongside other animals. Curious about his sudden exit, she questions Hoyoling, who cryptically refers to rumors of giant animal footprints and traces of blood on the mountain, causing the deer to scatter. Back in reality, after finishing their meal, Sohwa's worry about the tiger persists. Dowhi continues to reassure her, but she insists on visiting the monk for peace of mind. Attempting to leave, Dowhi stops her, expressing distrust for the monk, citing a past snake encounter in the cave. Hugging her from behind, he questions her persistence despite fear. Sohwa, in her thoughts, acknowledges the monk's mysterious nature, but appreciates his past help. She reminds Dowhi that there aren't many people left to advise her, and the monk has always been good to her. Eventually, she enters the monk's abode, confessing her tiger dreams and intimate encounters. She mentions a diminishing sense of smell, making solo hunting difficult. Expressing concern about the tiger leaving for a monastery, she seeks guidance. The monk attributes her dreams to weakening yang energy and questions her understanding of being in heat, leaving Sohwa in contemplation about her changing circumstances. Grinning, Sohwa asserts her awareness of adulthood when the monk questions if she knows what to do when in heat. Her nonchalant response about locking doors and sleeping doesn't impress the monk, who probes about her source of information. Sohwa credits Hoyoling, expressing a desire to check on him. The monk, curious about Hoyoling's departure, is interrupted by Dowhi's entrance. Dowhi, with a suspicious history with the monk, swiftly suggests leaving. Saying her goodbyes, the monk recalls Hoyoling's words about family being eaten and advises the monk to take care. The monk then grabs her hand urgently, revealing the presence of a tiger on the mountain. Shocked, Sohwa is cautioned to leave quickly and discern the true identity of someone close to her. On the way home, Dowhi presses Sohwa for details, noticing her grim expression. Concerned, he mentions her looking pale and criticizes her meeting with the monk. Trembling, Sohwa defends the monk, citing his status as a disciple of Mount Tairayong's high monk. Dowhi, revealing his worry due to being a serpent, suggests the monk could swallow her. Sohwa, scared, disputes this characterization, but Dowhi, grabbing her hand, teases her that he'd guess what the monk told her. With anticipation in his gold eyes, he reveals the startling revelation, the presence of a tiger on the mountain. Anxiety fills Sohwa as Dowhi mentions the rumored tiger on the mountain. Dowhi dismisses it, claiming no such beasts would show themselves, eliciting relief from Sohwa. Jokingly, he teases about the mountain not being big enough for such creatures and advises her against visiting the monk again. Playfully, he feeds her grapes, urging her to leave worries behind as they head home. Back at home, Dowhi takes care of Sohwa, preparing her bed and cleaning her hair. Concerned about her catching a cold, he wraps a towel around her neck, gently pulling her close. Expressing sympathy for her tiredness, he encourages her to sleep early. Blushing, Sohwa contemplates the paradox of Dowhi's gentleness and the monk's warnings about him being a beast. Dowhi, while complimenting her hair, asks if combing it helps her sleep. She affirms, and as she dozes off, he kisses her forehead, bidding her good night. In her dreams, echoes of the monk's warning resurface, and she wakes up screaming tiger. Frustration sets in as she wonders how Dowhi, seemingly gentle, could be the beast the monk spoke of. Hearing footsteps, she questions Dowhi's late-night departures and imagines him preparing her bed to mask his activities. Curiosity leads her to peek through a hole in the window, suspecting him of going hunting. Dowhi, feeling uneasy, checks for her presence, but she remains unnoticed. Breathing a sigh of relief, she decides against following him and resolves to dig as the monk advised. Late into the night, Sohwa starts digging, eventually uncovering something. With determination, she tries to pull it out, unraveling a mysterious discovery that adds another layer to the unfolding secrets of Mount Lihuang. Oh my goodness! The hole reveals a shocker that's filled with bones, and right in her front yard, a fox head buried. In disbelief, Sohwa tries to rationalize it, suggesting it might be an old fox grave from her family's past. Angrily, she denies the possibility, asserting that Dowhi wouldn't hunt a fox. Shivering, she insists that someone as tender and kind as him can't possibly be a tiger. After all, he doesn't even smell of predator's blood. Suddenly, a distant sound catches her attention, a fox crying. Puzzled, Sohwa rushes to cover the hole before Dowhi returns. As she finishes, she hears Dowhi approaching. Panicking, she pretends to be asleep, watching him with curiosity. Dowhi, holding a mysterious item and dripping wet, calls her name. Seeing her apparently asleep, he compliments her adorableness, perhaps catching a glimpse of her filthy hands. After he leaves, Sohwa, relieved, wonders about the shift in her feelings toward his touch and questions if it's fear. The next day, Dowhi urges Sohwa to come closer and not observe from afar. Curious about his true nature, he assures her not to be afraid, promising to reveal everything. The air thickens with anticipation as Sohwa contemplates unraveling the mysteries surrounding Dowhi and the unsettling discovery in her front yard. Oh, phew! It's just another one of Sohwa's dreams. Frustrated but relieved that it's not the tiger this time, she wakes up to an unexpected sight of Dowhi undressed, raising her sheets. To her embarrassment, she realizes she's wet herself. Determined to maintain her dignity as a fox, she sneakily tries to wash the sheets before Dowhi wakes up, vowing to leave other laundry for him, but not this one. Startled, Dowhi appears behind her, cautioning her about the possibility of falling. He inquires about her dreams and requests the quilt. Despite her protests, he insists on helping and questions her odd behavior, even suggesting taking care of her undergarments. Angrily, Sohwa refuses, asserting her independence. She muses to herself that there's a limit even if he does her laundry, refusing to let him wash her soiled undergarments. Relieved, she manages to take off her soiled undergarments, all the while contemplating the strange dreams and questioning if there's something wrong with her. At breakfast, Dowhi surprises her with her favorite dish. During the meal, he proposes staying with her at night due to her frequent nightmares. Sohwa, concerned about his rest, rejects the idea, emphasizing the decorum between different species. Dowhi teases her about holding back and urges her to eat before her food gets cold. Later that night, another unsettling dream of a tiger licking her wakes Sohwa in a panic. Determined to cool off, she heads to the outhouse, but notices Dowhi's light still on. Curious, she approaches and is surprised to hear moaning sounds, leaving her to wonder about the mysterious happenings in the night. Whoa! Sohwa, curious if Dowhi's having nightmares too, approaches his window and hears him moaning her name. To her surprise, she witnesses him engaging in a rather intimate act. Covering her mouth, she feels it's something she shouldn't be witnessing. Dowhi continues, scratching and tearing the window. Caught looking, he invites her in, but she bolts away as quickly as possible. The following day, over an amazing meal, Dowhi casually questions if she entered his room the night before. Nervous, Sohwa denies it, but Dowhi insists he sensed a fox. Quick on her feet, Sohwa shifts the conversation, claiming she's been hearing fox sounds and assures him she'll chase it away. Dowhi dismisses her worries, stating the house isn't suitable for foxes, leaving Sohwa perplexed. Seeking clarity, she asks what she is. Playfully, Dowhi squeezes her cheeks, diverting the topic by telling her to eat. As they continue the meal, Sohwa, noticing Dowhi's lack of eating, questions him. He explains he ate a lot the previous night and is still full. In her thoughts, Sohwa ponders what Dowhi could have eaten alone that would leave him so satisfied. However, hesitant to ask directly, she contemplates the potential answers and the implications for the creatures on the mountain. The mysterious air around Dowhi deepens, leaving Sohwa with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Breaking from her thoughts, Sohwa excuses herself, claiming fullness, despite Dowhi's concern for her health. With Dowhi out for groceries, Sohwa seizes the opportunity to explore the mysterious fox screams at night. She believes Dowhi is overly protective, restricting her outings, and is determined to discover who truly owns the mountain. Transforming into her original fox form, Sohwa ventures out cautiously. As she explores, she encounters another vixen, Miho, with red eyes. Sohwa, realizing she might be in trouble, attempts to playfully act innocent. Miho, seemingly friendly at first, abruptly accuses Sohwa of killing her husband the previous day. Startled, Sohwa vehemently denies the accusation, insisting she hasn't even seen other foxes. Miho, after a moment of tension, calms down and questions Sohwa's presence. Sohwa, inquiring if the mountain now belongs to Miho, is met with a confident yes. Angry and unwilling to concede, Sohwa transforms back into her human form, asserting her longevity in the mountain. However, Miho detects a strange scent, prompting Sohwa to reveal azalea flowers she received as a gift. Miho, disbelieving, informs her that it's a toxic herb that numbs the nose. Sohwa, caught in an unexpected confrontation, must navigate the complexities of fox hierarchy and confront the implications of her actions. And that concludes our story for now. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for part 3, we'll continue the journey as soon as there's an update. Thanks for joining in.